Welcome to our Candidates Forum. In the interest of informing the community about candidates and issues, we're offering Councilmember Steve Cohen an opportunity to speak to you about his candidacy, even though he's running unopposed for re-election to the District 3 seat on the Sacramento City Council. You will see another name on your ballot, that of Bruce Palmer, who for personal reasons found it necessary to withdraw from the race. I'm Ann Rudin, a past president of the League of Women Voters and moderator for today's forum. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission. It is being seen live by an audience in the Sacramento Board of Supervisors chambers and a cable television audience at home. It's also being taped for rebroadcast on Metro Cable Channel 14 and may be seen each Sunday until June 4th, the Sunday just before Election Day. A little bit about the League of Women Voters. The League is a nonpartisan, nonprofit national organization of women and men established to promote political responsibility through informed, active participation in government. The League does not support, oppose, or evaluate political candidates. However, we do take positions on political and public policy issues after careful study. Now, I'm going to ask Mr. Cohen, this is an informal discussion between us here. I'm going to ask Mr. Cohen to tell us why he's running for re-election. Steve?
Well, thank you, Ann. And first of all, let me thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum as they do every year, and for all the community service that you do throughout the year. It is an unusual circumstance that brings me here today, where I do have an opponent on the ballot, but not actively campaigning. But I do appreciate this opportunity to speak at this forum. It's hard to believe, but I've been on the council now for over 11 years, and it's a decade in which the city's grown up, along with my children. My daughter was 12 when I first ran for city council, and my son was 9 at the time. Well, now she's a graduate of UCLA, and my son is now in his second year of college. So things have changed a bit, and with that, the city has grown tremendously. From the beginning, I brought an independent voice and conservation ethic to the council, sharing a vision that Sacramento should be America's most livable city, with excellent schools, libraries, abundant parks, open spaces, a dynamic central city, vibrant arts, sports, cultural attractions, and safe, quality, tree-lined neighborhoods, all within walking distance or a transit stop from everything you need. It's been my pleasure to take a leadership role in some of the more significant accomplishments that we've made towards realizing this vision, and I look forward to continuing that over the next 4 years.
Thank you. What do you think the major issues are that face the city of Sacramento and will be in the next few years?
Well, there's no question in my mind that dealing with growth is the most important issue that we face, and that comes in a number of different ways. We are now a region of 2.2 million people. When I first moved here 25 years ago, we were under 1 million. So we've more than doubled. Some people say we'll be adding 1 million over the next 20 years, and could have a population as high as 4 million by the year 2050. I think we need to plan our region not for tomorrow or today, but for 50 years from now. How do we do that? Flood control is certainly, and public safety, foremost on everyone's minds, particularly after the disaster in Katrina, and some of the realization that we have our own problems right here in Sacramento. Transportation. How do we deal with traffic congestion? How do we keep our neighborhoods from being overrun with traffic? These are tough issues. I have been a strong supporter of transit and continue to be, and for alternative forms of transit. But in order to make that work, we also have to grow differently, and that means we have to look at land use a little bit differently than we have in the past. Some people call that smart growth. Certainly, you'd rather have smart growth than dumb growth, if that's the choice. But what does that really mean? We have some tough choices to make, I believe, even over the next year as this city adopts its general plan. Some of the exciting things going on are our new rail station, intermodal station downtown that we hope to build over the next few years. We're seeing tremendous growth in rail ridership, but our station doesn't allow for that kind of growth. So we need to build it or expand it. We also need to add 10,000 new residents downtown, and even that is just a real small fraction of the kind of growth going on throughout the region. There are so many other things. Education, we need to do a lot better job with our public schools. In the arts, I'm very pleased that the city is going to be partnering with the private sector to expand the Crocker and really turn that into a world-class facility to house our world-class exhibits that we have there. Those are just a few of the things, but I also want to mention our tremendously diverse population. And diversity doesn't alone tell the story. Time magazine pointed out that we are the most integrated city, not the most diverse, but integrated, meaning people of all different races and cultures, ethnicities living together rather than separately. This is, I think, our strength, but we can't take it for granted. We really have to work together to understand what brings us together, as well as understand our uniqueness and differences.
Are there any specific projects or areas that need to be worked on that you will be focusing on and hope to accomplish in your next term?
Well, absolutely. Let me start with flood control. I'm past chair and current board member of the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency. Our challenge over the next few years is to finalize design, construction, receive appropriations, as well as get additional local and state funds to improve Folsom Dam. We've already improved the levees by adding in a slurry wall, but we need to enlarge the openings that will allow floodwaters to be let out of the dam earlier in a storm. That's a long-term project to get us to 200-year protection. We also need to rebuild the Natomas levees. I mentioned also the intermodal station downtown. That's a chief goal of mine to get that accomplished. Out at Sac State, we have a whole new university village out there that we're building and right around the light rail. It was a mistake not to put light rail on campus. I know, Ann, you remember how tough it was in those days. The university didn't recognize the value. Now they do, and so we're actually making the best of a situation where even though light rail doesn't go onto campus, it goes right next to campus, and it's allowing us to build a whole off-campus housing and mixed-use community that will really allow that university to achieve, I believe, greatness in our community.
If I may interject,
Sure.
At that time it was a matter of who would pay for it.
Exactly.
And so perhaps with all of the growth that's going on around the university, do you think there's more of an opportunity to find funding for the light rail diversion onto the campus?
Well, that is a possibility. What we're looking at, though, as a possible alternative is creating a trolley system that would actually circulate from 65th and Folsom around to various housing and mixed-use communities that are just off campus, south of the freeway, and then as well as north of the freeway, and circulating that through a trolley. At first it'll be buses, but hopefully with the kind of funding you mentioned, we can turn that into a fixed rail trolley line. Mm-hmm. And I think that will actually accomplish the original objective quite well. So that's one thing. We certainly want to expand light rail throughout. We want to go out to the airport. We're talking about trolley lines out to West Sacramento. Also in the Arden Fair area, Sunrise, there's a lot. You know, this community, everybody, I mentioned it in my opening, should be within walking distance or a transit stop from everything you need, whether it's schools, colleges, the commercial activities, commercial centers, offices, retail, cultural centers. We really need to give people other options besides having to drive in an automobile.
I think probably we're going to run out of time soon, so that if you would like to give a closing statement or wind it up.
I'd be happy to do that. It's been my tremendous pleasure to serve on the City Council and to work on community-driven priorities. Some of the greatest enjoyment I get are some of the little things like Pops in the Park and doing the improvements in our parks and fountains that are enjoyed by neighbors. But as we look to the future, we're really going to have to make some tough choices to address the growth that we see coming in our community. And I look forward to working with my constituents and all the stakeholders throughout our city and region to accomplish that. And I just want to, at this time, thank again League of Women Voters for all that you do to encourage participation in our local democracy here. My constituents, the dozens of volunteers who have walked precincts and phone bank, and the many people and organizations who have endorsed me, including Congresswoman Matsui, Assemblymember Dave Jones, former Assemblymember Darrell Steinberg, most of my colleagues on the City Council and the Board of Supervisors, as well as the Police Officers Association, Metro Chamber, all our local chamber presidents, just to name a few. I really appreciate that support, and I won't disappoint you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Cohen. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Sacramento County and the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Commission, I thank Councilman Steve Cohen for participating in this program today. Thanks also go to the volunteers. What would we do without volunteers who made this happen? This has been designed to provide information to voters because we believe that a democratic government depends on the informed and active participation of its citizens. We hope that this has helped you in making your decision. For voter information and rebroadcast times, please visit the Smart Voter website at www.smartvoter.org or our local League of Women Voters website at www.LWVSACRAMENTO. Let me say that again. That was longer than I was planning. www.LWVSacramento.org. That's better.
I think so.
Please vote on June 6th and help make our democracy work. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Ann.